Ioannis, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Antoine, for making the request. And yeah, really, really happy to spend some time with your viewers, listeners, to share some knowledge or maybe share some mishaps that happened in the past.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the background. You spent almost 7 years at Canada's biggest bank, and then you jumped into entrepreneurship. So you opened your first company, lasted about 2 years, and then over the past 7 months, you've been building ads for GPT. So can you just first talk to us about this jump from the corporate world and what happened with the first company?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, if you told me that I would be 7, 8 years at RBC, yeah, I would tell you that you're crazy. But after 1 year came the next one, and RBC was really good at changing. Like the bank is so huge that you can go from one role to another role. So you weren't that bored in the end. But I always wanted to do something on my own. Timing was right in 2023. Back in the day, we did not have any kids, we did not have any dogs. Things changed in the last 2, 3 years. So I said, okay, right now it's back in 23. It was a good time for me to at least try it and see if I like it, and at the end of the day, I can always go back. Um, at a corporate, in the corporate world, in the finance world. But I also, in my last role, I was fortunate enough to be the director of machine learning for the marketing science team. And I did really like marketing. So then I switched my focus into the marketing world. And initially, what we did was an AI agent. Well, imagine building an AI agent in 2023. Brutal. For SMBs to launch campaigns for Facebook and Instagram. So the creative is generated by AI, the copy is generated by AI. Basically, what Meta is trying to do right now, and that we saw that wasn't scalable. It was so difficult to communicate with non-technical folks, with mom and pop shops. It was a nightmare. It was definitely unscalable. So then we started pivoting, and in the 2 year span of Italy, we built 4 platforms, and we run more than 100 experiments, trying different market segments, generally trying a lot of stuff. And we brought 4 products into life. That each of one of those had like their own unique difficulties in terms of either product market fit or product difficulty or distribution or founder market fit. At some point, like we found out that in one of the cases that maybe we're not the ones that should be selling this product into the world. Um, but ads for GPTs found us in the last iteration. So we put, in order to offset costs from the beta that we ran in the last Neatly iteration, I said, okay, why don't we put ads into the beta platform? So we put it as a tool integration for the AI agents. That got some attention, and we said, okay, there's might be something in here. So we explored that. We did a soft launch back in, I think in December. We did a product hunt launch. It was terrible, but we got some conversations going, and we had some folks interested to come join. Then you get hit with what we didn't know. So there are things that we know that we don't know, and there are things that we don't know that we don't know. So, and that was the whole ad tech infrastructure and the flows behind them. So when we realize that okay, there's a sea of things that we do not understand, and we need to kind of scale back. So we've reached out to prominent figures in the ad tech space. We got a team together. We started researching for the problems, and then right now we're at the point of ads for GPTs, where we're rebuilding the monetization infrastructure for the Gen AI, essentially.
But what does that mean? So you're focusing on how to implement ads inside these new companies, like in like a seamless way for them to monetize? Like, explain to me a bit, like, how does that practically look like?
Yeah, exactly. So it's you can imagine that you had the in the web 2.0 you had websites, right? You built a website, you either had an app living there with some functionality, or you created content, and then the way you monetized that content is through the attention of the visitor. um, right now we're moving and from browsing to actually querying AI apps. And we're seeing the world being a bit more compartmentalized. That's a hard word to say as a Greek. Uh, so
Got it.
a bit more siloed.
Mm,
So we're seeing a lot of the verticalization of spaces. Like, okay, we're gonna have an AI for healthcare for all B2C applications, right? And in the previous paradigm, we had advertising, and you had these horrible UX of pop-ups ads, you have the consent forms, and you had
yeah.
blocking ads that you had to watch 30 seconds of a video and then you have to click next and whatnot, exit. So we're thinking and we believe that product placement or advertising, I say that in quotations because it's not going to be banner ads. This experience, I don't think, is going to live in an AI native space. But the business model is the one that matters, because advertising was the only scalable enough business model to work in these type of settings. And we believe that it's going to be the same business model, but we need to tailor it for AI native interfaces and the AI native internet. And that means like solving the privacy issues that exist, the fraud issues, the performance based on, like, right now you had a website and you had your somebody could go and crawl it. You have your keywords, you have all these things, and that was sent into an ad request. Somebody did some machine learning and said, okay, I want to put my ad in there. All that changes when you have like a black canvas, like a chat GPT, and you say, oh, what you want to talk about today. So we're trying to get that that ecosystem and actually transform that openly and transparently into the AI native counterpart. So that's in a nutshell what we're trying to do.
But you're working with an industry that's changing so quickly. So are you worried that whatever solution you come up with might become redundant in a year? Do you constantly adapt? Like how do you take this into consideration?
Oh, the tech for sure. Like, you have to be willing and aware that what you build today probably is going to change tomorrow, and you will have to rebuild maybe the whole code base 5, 6 times in the next 3, 4 years. The only thing that don't change, the only things that don't change are the problems, like the privacy problems, the fraud problems, the performance problems. Like, you need to have a fundamental architecture and the protocols, the open protocols to go with it, that stay invariant through that transition. The pipes and the frameworks around that, and even the AI frameworks that people could use, this will come and go. And we are aware that we will have to rewrite a lot of the integrations and a lot of the piping code around it. So right now we have MCP and A2A, like agent to agent protocol from Google. These are very early steps, like baby steps towards like a fully agentic orchestration platform. And we know that right now we're building with MCP. To next year we're gonna build with A2A. Maybe something changes. This like it's a fact. The only thing that is kind of draining is the pace that we're going through. That you have to pick your battles, like especially when you're a startup. Like you have to be laser focused on okay, and placing your bets carefully. On okay, we're doing this because from these frameworks, that's what gives us the best odds for winning in the next 6 months, but be having your lens open for other things like and from feedback from the actual market on what exactly is happening.
Jonas, how will this change from the user perspective, not the business itself? Like, or you know what? Let me start in the beginning. If I want to put an ad on the website, will
Mm-hmm.
my experience change, or it's just the way it's integrated that's being reinvented? Like, are people still going to go in a very simple platform and say, I want to advertise? Or, and then you will take care of how to integrate that into these new Gen AI models, or the entire experience changes?
So, short answer, the whole experience changes. From what we're seeing, we're solving for three personas. We're solving for well, we have at the center the user, the person that actually interacts with the ad. Even though that we're not the advertisers, we deeply care about the user experience and we don't want to replicate the mistakes of the web 2.0. Like we don't want Christmas tree AI apps out there riddled with blocking ads. That's definitely not what I want to do in my life. Then we have the advertisers. The advertisers deeply care about return on investment, deeply care about performance, but also care about brand safety and user safety, actually. And you have the AI applications that they want to monetize and have like a sustainable business model. And another thing that we saw is that there are a lot of business models out there for right now for AI apps, but the main issue, other than the like straight up usage based models, right? That you these are my costs if I'm using like a GPT 4o. Okay, I'm spending $15 per million tokens. I'm having a markup of 10%. Okay, that's my OPEX. That's my margin minus 1 or 2% from for any other OPEX operational expenses that I might have. Other than that, the seat-based, subscription-based, they do not have the MRR effect that SaaS had. On the other hand, ads, and especially the way that we are envisioned, like gives a predictable business model, like predictable margins for the business, which is very appealing for founders, but also for investors, of course. Um, but also the applications deeply care about their UX and deeply care about churn, like retention, and especially for AI apps. That who the hell knows about product market fit of AI apps? We've seen like Cursor and some other apps go ballistic, but that's like one-offs, right? The AI experience hasn't been figured out. Like coding is one category that I think has been explored the most, but every other experience is up for grabs right now. So churn is a big thing that AI apps are considering. Is top of the mind. So what we're trying to do is trying to create a circle of trust around these three personas and deliver an experience, a monetization experience to the user that fits all these three people, essentially.
Right? That's fascinating because we've been so focused on the new apps themselves that we didn't really think about the next step, which is okay, now people are using these new tools. How are advertisers going to adapt? So this is a interesting concept, but it is, I mean, you need to have vision here, Ioannis, because you're perceiving the industry going in a certain way, and that's how you're
Hmm.
building your company. So it's
Yep.
kind of like an educated, I wouldn't call it guess, but it's like an educated
It is a bet.
direction. It's a
It's
bet.
definitely
It's a
a
bet.
bet. It's definitely
Yeah.
a bet. Yeah.
And do you feel like your background, being a technical person, gives you an edge on these other companies that are trying to get ahead, but that don't really understand how the tech works, but they just have these a good, strong business background?
So, well, first of all, I don't feel confident, or I don't feel like I'm not a medium to foresee the future. But I know that from my track record or like my past experience, I know my strengths, and my strengths as a person, as a leader, is actually being able to see the forest better than the tree, and actually attract really good talent around me. So I think that's my two biggest qualities. So I kind of sense a direction, but like there are so many butterfly effects out there that right now, who knew that MCP is gonna be such a hit? Like when I saw the protocol, I didn't think much of it. I thought, yes, great, a protocol out there, but the market responded. So then you have to kind of accustom for that and maybe change your the actual implementation of your vision, of your direction, based on the on what's happening around you. So I'm not saying, so what I'm saying is definitely what I have in my mind right now, it's not going to be a reality in 5 years. But what I'll try to do is take market direction at any given moment based on the vision that we have set, which is a transparent and open AI native internet, and be the monetization infrastructure for that, whatever it might be. It might not even be ads as being perceived right now. I definitely don't see that is going to be ads as they're being perceived right now. Um, and we will have to kind of experiment and learn and grow with like what works in those environments and settings. So yeah, I'm confident in my ability. I'm definitely not confident in the reality that we have right now that is going to continue to exist in 5 years.
I mean, it's definitely a very interesting topic to have, and I'm glad we're having this discussion because you opened my mind on a perspective on the industry I haven't really thought about at all. So I want to end with this. What's the next big milestone for ads for
Then,
GPT?
yeah, the next big milestone is our private beta. So what we're putting it, so we're at the maturity level that we feel comfortable that our solution is end to end, is privacy first, is transparent, highly curated. You're not gonna see failure rates go up, and your advertisers spending money on stupid queries. So we're confident that our product works. And the next milestone is actually have the use cases other than the alpha program, have our private beta out there, and have some really strong case studies that we can show the world and say, okay, this is a new way of doing advertising, and it works essentially.
That's awesome. Johannes, thank you so much for taking the time. That was super interesting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Antoine, for having me.